The game everyone has been talking about lately is High on Life, a wild, comedy-driven sci-fi shooter that completely flips the usual rules of first-person games. Developed by Squanch Games, the title throws players into a bizarre alien invasion story where Earth is being attacked by a cartel of extraterrestrials who want to use humans as drugs. Instead of playing a trained soldier or elite warrior, you start as an ordinary teenager who suddenly becomes humanity's last hope. That simple setup is what makes the game stand out immediately, because the humor, the talking weapons, and the unpredictable dialogue make it feel more like an interactive comedy show than a typical shooter. The game's tone is heavily influenced by the comedic style of Justin Roiland, which explains the constant jokes, fourth wall breaks, and absurd conversations happening during gameplay. Right from the beginning, players are introduced to the game's main mechanic, living guns called Gatlians. These weapons talk, argue, complain, and react to everything you do. Instead of silent guns that only fire bullets, each weapon has its own personality, voice, and special ability. One might be sarcastic and annoyed, another might be overly enthusiastic, and another might act like a nervous sidekick. This system transforms combat into a comedy performance because the weapons comment on your decisions, insult enemies, and sometimes even judge your gameplay skills. It makes every fight feel alive, and it keeps players entertained even during intense battles. The gameplay itself mixes traditional shooter mechanics with creative abilities. Players can dash, jump, grapple, and use different gun powers to solve puzzles or defeat enemies. Some enemies require specific weapons to beat, while others demand quick movement and strategy. The level design encourages exploration, with hidden areas, secret upgrades, and strange characters scattered across colorful alien worlds. These planets each have their own environment, culture, and strange inhabitants, which gives the game variety and prevents it from feeling repetitive. One moment you might be fighting in a desert filled with bizarre creatures, and the next you could be exploring a neon-lit alien city full of weird advertisements and strange side missions. The story progresses through bounty hunting missions where you track down members of the alien cartel. Each target has a unique personality and boss fight style. Some bosses rely on brute force, others use tricky attacks, and some even talk non-stop during battle to distract you. These boss encounters are one of the strongest parts of the game because they combine action with humor and storytelling. Instead of silent villains, the bosses argue with you, mock you, or panic when they start losing. This constant interaction makes victories feel more satisfying because it feels like you've defeated an actual character, not just another enemy. Another major feature that keeps players engaged is the upgrade system. As you progress, you can buy upgrades for your suit and weapons using money collected from missions. These upgrades can improve health, increase damage, unlock new abilities, or enhance movement. This system adds a sense of progression and customization, allowing players to choose how they want to play. Some might focus on speed and agility, while others might invest in stronger firepower. Because of this flexibility, the gameplay experience can feel different depending on the player's choices. The humor style is not for everyone, but it is undeniably one of the game's defining traits. The dialogue is packed with jokes, absurd conversations, and unexpected moments. NPCs might talk endlessly about random topics, TVs in the game might play strange shows, and even background characters might start funny arguments. This level of comedic detail makes the world feel alive and unpredictable. Players often find themselves stopping just to listen to conversations because they never know what ridiculous line might come next. This approach sets the game apart from most shooters, which usually focus more on action than personality. Visually, the game stands out because of its bright colors, exaggerated character designs, and strange alien environments. Instead of realistic graphics, it uses a cartoonish style that matches the humor and tone. The creatures look bizarre, the cities look surreal, and even the menus have personality. This artistic direction makes the game memorable because it doesn't try to imitate reality. Instead, it embraces its weirdness and turns it into a strength. The visual style also helps performance, allowing smooth gameplay even during chaotic battles filled with enemies and effects. Sound design also plays a huge role in the experience. The voice acting is energetic and expressive, making every character feel distinct. The music changes depending on the situation, becoming intense during fights and relaxed during exploration. Sound effects from weapons, enemies, and environments add another layer of immersion. Because the guns talk so often, audio becomes one of the most important parts of gameplay. Players often remember certain lines or jokes long after finishing the game, which shows how impactful the sound design really is. One of the reasons the game became so popular is because it offers something different from standard shooters. Many action games focus only on mechanics and difficulty, but this one focuses just as much on personality and entertainment. It doesn't take itself seriously, and that gives it a unique charm. Players who enjoy story-driven experiences often appreciate how the narrative unfolds alongside the action. Even side missions contain funny dialogue and unexpected twists, making them worth completing instead of feeling like filler content. There has also been growing curiosity about a possible sequel, often referred to by fans as High on Life 2. While no official sequel has been fully released as of now, discussions and speculation continue because the first game left room for continuation. Fans expect that if a sequel comes, it would expand the universe, introduce new talking weapons, and bring even crazier alien worlds. The success of the original game makes the idea of a sequel very likely in the future. Since the developers have a strong foundation to build on, if a second installment does happen, players would probably see improvements in graphics, larger environments, more weapon personalities, and deeper gameplay systems. Sequels usually expand mechanics rather than reinvent them, so fans would expect the same humor and style but with more features. There could be cooperative modes, larger missions, or even branching storylines where player choices affect the ending. Because the original already experimented with creativity, a sequel could push those ideas even further and become an even bigger hit. What makes this game truly special is how it blends genres. It's part shooter, part comedy, part adventure, and part narrative experience. Few games manage to balance all those elements successfully, but this one does it by making humor the center of everything. Even serious moments are interrupted by jokes or strange dialogue, which keeps the tone light and entertaining. This balance prevents the game from feeling repetitive or overly intense, making it enjoyable for both casual players and dedicated gamers.
In combat, the skateboard's influence isn't so positive. You're seemingly expected to never stop moving while fighting hordes of aliens, which makes the already chaotic encounters even more noisy and hard to read. Many fights take place in open areas, where you're surrounded by more bad guys than you could possibly keep track of, and staying put is a death sentence with so little cover. So you'll have to take shots at passersby while leaping from various parts of the environment to keep yourself going as fast as you can. Combine that juggling act with slippery weapons, enemies that teleport around, and weird foes that are often hard to even understand what you're looking at, and oh boy, the result is just an absolute diarrhea of pixels. Those pixels seem to be pushing High on Life 2 to its limits as well, because I saw frequent frame rate dips, some that caused my screen to freeze for several seconds before getting it together, and progress-hindering bugs that required me to reload the last checkpoint. Developer Squanch Games did include, quote, various performance issues across the game, unquote, on a list of known problems with the review build that will apparently be addressed by a patch, but it didn't specify the extent to which those would be resolved, and in my experience, a Day 1 patch rarely makes all of a game's performance problems magically disappear when they're this extensive. Nothing I saw struck me as game-breaking beyond a simple reset, but it was consistent and egregious enough to make me worried for the stuff people will find when this is out in the wild. High on Life 2 is a fun sequel that expands on the original's best ideas, including the absurd and memorable boss fights and charming talking guns, while also introducing some neat new concepts like the skateboarding mechanic, even if that doesn't do combat any favors. Unfortunately, it also takes a step backward in plenty of other areas, like its underwhelming story, even sloppier gunplay, and rough technical performance. I was still happy to return to this goofy, completely foul world of offensive creatures and irreverent anti-heroes, the likes of which we simply don't get enough of these days. But like any joke you've heard multiple times before, the second stab just doesn't land quite as well as the original. For more over-the-top action, check out our recent reviews of Yakuza Kiwami 3 and Romeo is a Dead Man. And for everything else, stick with IGN.
I'm glad we've got someone else around now who loves killing as much as I do.
I might even like it more.
Yeah, right, fat chance. Nightly #1.